Manti Te'o. You remember that guy?
I do. I think
What
the
do you
world does.
What do you think? What do you think most when I say that name? What do you think of? Right at the first thing out of
Fish.
Catfish.
Catfish.
Yeah, that he had a fake girlfriend or he was catfished or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard. The guy played 8 years in the NFL.
He played that long?
Yeah. Right? It was I think it was 8 seasons. I know it didn't feel like that.
Well, no, because look, we got to remember he was like second in the Heisman when he was coming out of college. He
Right.
was the everything.
He was the everything. All the stories were about him. And then this whole story about he had a girlfriend that didn't exist or whatever. It's crazy. And I know that they did a 30 for 30 on it. And there's a lot of in-depth stuff about friends and all kinds of stuff that's in there. But this is what I really want to talk about. Not that, because that's old. But he just took a new job at the NFL Network. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Because we hadn't heard that much from him of late, right? Out of sight, out of mind. When you have some sort of embarrassing situation, and I would call that embarrassing, would you?
Oh, that's beyond embarrassing.
It was an embarrassing situation that people kind of held on to and ridiculed him and made fun of him and all that. But he's put himself back in the spotlight by taking his job at the NFL Network. I think he's going to work, right, Patrick, on Good Morning Football?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well.
And Ephraim, I'm going to commend him for not letting this control his life and feel like he needs to hide for the rest of his life after that. Like, this is a major step for me. Most people don't want to be in the public, period. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Most people would rather not. Stuff that we do, the stuff that I get yelled at. I was at a Lakers game standing outside the building. Some guy, I had my back turned, some guy yelled, "Hey, LA hater." And guess what I did? I turned around.
Of course you did.
He said, "See? You even answered to that. I didn't even say your name." He said, "I didn't even say your name," and you accepted that. And I said, "You know what? That was weird. I did do that." But you get my point.
I do.
We've been yelled at. People think we're crazy and we're this, we're that. We're in the public. We get criticized, ridiculed, whatever it is. "Oh, Rob doesn't know anything about football. He's never touched the ball. Oh, Ephraim doesn't know anything about basketball."
Well, that's
Ephraim,
not true.
I know you played.
No, but no one says that, though.
I'm just giving you like.
Oh, okay. No one has said those things.
I'm just giving you like.
Okay, I'm deep in the streets out here, just so you know.
People who don't agree with your opinion will say, "He's a football player. What does he know about basketball?" Everybody doesn't know your basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
Acumen, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So they use that as an example. And what I used to tell players like you when they would like tell me about, "Well, you never played in the NFL."
I never do that. You know why? And we could talk about that before we get back to Manti. When I started in this business over 20 plus 25 years ago, I had a producer, and he said, "Look, when you get on the air and you're talking, or if you're debating with someone, low-hanging fruit is asking, did they play?"
Right.
That's easy.
That's easy.
Because we know what the answer is. The answer is no.
Right.
So, number one, it's not original. But number two, what you do is you alienate 99% of the listeners.
Who didn't play in the NFL either.
99% of your listeners, you alienate them. So now they don't think they have a valid opinion on whatever you guys are talking about. So if you're going to debate and you're losing the debate, then never reach for the low-hanging. Don't grab the low-hanging fruit.
You got a good producer there, because that is true.
And I've trained I've never said that on air. What I try to do is I try to enlighten people on the nuance of being a professional athlete.
Which you have, right?
Right. But I also validate their opinion. Like, even as bad and as whack as a lot of your opinions are about things.
40 years strong.
But you 40 years of bad opinions. I mean,
right.
You've built a house. You've built a blue fancy drop top. 40 years of bad opinions and takes. But all that to say, when you mentioned Manti Te'o, the first thing I do think about is that whole situation because he was a dynamic player. Look, for people who think athletes are robots, athletes don't have feelings, they can just block things out.
Right. Nah, they're people, right?
They're people.
I've been in locker rooms where players lose a game, but crying their eyes out.
I've been there.
I've
been one of those guys.
Yeah, crying their eyes out.
What we saw in the documentary, maybe we didn't see it at the time, but what the documentary showed us was 100% affected his ability to go out there and just play. It's hard to go out there and give everything you have when the whole world thinks, number one, you're a liar, you're an idiot.
How could you fall for that? Right.
Like you had so much of that. You got to remember, this is a young man. This is a kid, man.
Right.
No, 22 years old.
It had to be traumatic, and that's why I'm saying at this point now, Ephraim, I salute him that he's chosen to step back out in the public and open himself up for that. Because that's what he's done.
It's hard to do. Well,
Am I right?
Yeah, he's 33 now, I believe. He's married. He's moved on with his life out of the league. I think the further and further away he gets from playing, the less people associate him with that. I mean, because he was an all-time great.
Right.
Like I said, I think he came in number 2 that year in the Heisman voting.
Coming out of Notre Dame and all of that, man. Are you kidding? Like he was it in college football.
The fact that he was at Notre Dame and not SC, where his family went, where he really wanted to go, and just knowing his journey and what he had to weather in order to be the player he became in college and then get drafted, I take my hat off to him. I take my hat off to him getting into this business, being in the forefront and being on television talking about topics.
You know that. You've been doing it for a long time.
You open yourself up to criticism, something I think he's well-versed in handling. And just off of his past and the things he's had to deal with in terms of criticism, I think he's suited for this business. Not all takes will be great takes. Not all opinions will be great opinions. But the one thing they're your opinions.
No
right?
doubt.
And you can own your opinion. If you need a fact, if it's a fact-based opinion, then go ahead. But if it's something you feel, sometimes
there is a feel, and we brought that up yesterday
all the time.
when I talked about putting Georgia in my top 5 in 2017.
Yeah,
I couldn't have any really. But I didn't
knew what that was. That wasn't a feeling. That was. That was for you to have a moment like you
I had. Yes, indeed.
Right? I knew this way back when.
Back in 2017, documented.
You're hedging your bet.
There you go. All right, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. It's real. Manti Te'o is put himself back in the spotlight on NFL Network, on the Good Morning Football show. He's going to be doing stuff for them. Do you salute him for putting himself back in the public eye? And when you look at him, will you give this guy a chance to be a football analyst, or will you rightly or quickly running to, oh, that's the guy who got catfished? Can he shake that? Do you think he can ever shake that, or is this something that's unshakable? You've heard of unbreakable? Unshakable. Is Manti Te'o's, label unshakable?
We got Josh in Idaho. You on the Odd Couple with Rob and Ephraim. What you got?
Hey, guys. Multiple-time caller. I'm excited to be on the show today. How are you guys
We're
doing?
great. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. So I remember when all this went down, and I was kind of a fan of him and still am. And I think this is a great thing for not just for him, but for, people in general. There's only been one man that's walked this earth that was perfect. So, for him to make mistakes like we all do, unfortunately, his was very much in the media and all over. But one thing that I always thought was cool is he didn't try to hide away from it.
Right.
Like he went through the tough questions. He opened up. He was honest. And look where he's at now. I believe he's married. Mm-hmm. He has a daughter. and he hasn't let that define himself. And I think that's a good example for all people.
And you know what?
We mess up and we got to move on.
I like that, and that's why I'm happy about this as well. And a good message for young kids that if something goes wrong, your life's not over.
It's not over.
You don't need to go hide under a rock and be like, oh, I made a mistake when I was 20 years old. I got to wear that for the rest of my life. Got a whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
877-99 on Fox.
Thank you, Josh. We got Chris in Iowa. You on the Odd Couple with Chris and Ephraim. Rob and Ephraim. What you got?
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yes, sir.
Good on Manti Te'o. If he wants to get back into the booth or back to the game, then more power to him. As far as is it unshakable?
Yes.
I think it's only unshakable with the opinions of people who don't matter. I don't think whether you live in the public life or not, we all know people who their idea of us is sort of set in stone, and nothing is going to change that. You can call them haters, you can call them bullies, you can call them, insecure. But you weren't going to win them over. They were never going to,
Well, let me give you an example. I got a big example of somebody who turned how people viewed him and looked at him and became an American icon. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, who was looked at as a draft dodger. People hated him. There was a whole thing. This guy lit the Olympic torch for this country.
Yep.
I'm just saying, you can
on that
evolve.
On the two comparisons, I would say the biggest difference between Muhammad Ali and Manti Te'o is Muhammad Ali was right.
No, but but at the time is all I'm saying.
And also
you know
Muhammad Ali was great.
No, he was. But I'm saying he had a bad rep, I'm saying he went from that to an icon in this country.
Appreciate that,
thanks
Chris.
for the call.
But what I will say to that,
I'm not saying they're exactly
I know,
opposite.
but listen. Like if Manti Te'o would have came into the league
and been
one
of the
defensive
greatest
rookie of the year. Went to, all pro, went to 7 straight Pro Bowls. We wouldn't even be talking about the other thing.
That's fair.
Right? So greatness precedes whatever perceptions that are out there. That's just what it is. That's how it happens. We got my man Dre, Massachusetts. What's up? You on the Odd Couple with Rob and Ephraim. What you got?
Dre.
Andre.
Happy that Manti Te'o was getting back on the saddle and returning to the world of football and doing the broadcast thing. Based off the fact, he's had really kind of two careers. He was everybody's All-American at Notre Dame, kind of untouchable. They did kind of get touched up when they faced Alabama in the championship game. They did kind of get rolled over. And then he had the controversy. Listen, this guy, he had a 10-year NFL career. 2013, 2020? So he stayed around for a bit, on that very high trajectory. And the reason I respect him getting back in the saddle is because when something's been so central in your life for so long of your life, and then you kind of go away from it, sometimes guys have trouble. They're looking for that thing to kind of tether them and keep them grounded and have that foundation. So a lot of athletes continue to be around the game as broadcasters, as coaches in these different capacities, and they have so much to offer, and it really adds to their everyday life. So for all those reasons, good for him. Get back out there, and don't run away from what happened. Own up to it, take accountability, and as long as you do that, people are forgiving and will afford you that second chance, and then you can move forward and pursue that next success. Thanks for taking the call.
Great call.
Appreciate
Let's squeeze one more.
We got one more. We got James in Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple with Rob and Ephraim. What you got?
Oh, thank you for taking my call, gentlemen. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, James.
Man.
How are you?
A couple of OG, man. Wonderful, man. Glad to be back with you, Rob P, man.
Thank you.
I tell you what, guys, Ephraim too, man. Yo, I'll be honest with you. Everyone's hit it on the head, man. And to me, man, he exercised his demons when he did that 30 for 30, man. He sat there and, like the gentleman said, answered the question, stood tall. And to me, man, he moved on beyond it because there's no one thing that identifies anybody's life because, like you said, man, there's so many more years ahead of him to live, man. So, like you guys said, more power to him, man. Keep rocking, man, and make good the rest of your life, guys, man. Y'all have a great night, man. Salute the commander.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what, Ephraim, it's a great message for young kids. It just is. Like you cannot.
It can
one thing
seem
can't
like life
right.
is crushing you. It can seem like it's too much. Number one, time releases pressure. And nothing is permanent,
Right,
except for death.
A couple more people want to jump in.
Let's go to Grant in Tennessee. You on the Odd Couple with Rob and Ephraim. What you got?
Hey, thanks, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Doing
Good,
great
man.
on this funky flashback Friday.
Funky Flashback Friday. Now, I think, I think forgiveness is, divine. I think people will forgive him. I think they'll listen to him. And I think this was said earlier. It's really going to be if he's entertaining, if he's good at his job. He's not going to have the, Tom Brady can get on there and mess up. He's not going to have all that leniency. Because of his past, I think he'll be on a shorter leash. But I think he'll get his chance, though. I definitely think he'll get a chance to, show his talent if he's talented. I know you said earlier he didn't shine on some of his interviews, so he's going to have to be on his A. He's definitely going to have to be on his A game.
Oh, people, let me tell you something. The Tom Brady thing. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
He will
Grant.
be under a microscope because not only just getting that job.
Yeah.
But they're paying him $37.5 million. Ephraim, did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I did.
$37.5 million to be an analyst on 17 football games.
17.
Like that's an astronomical amount of money. Just like
Is it a lot?
Astronomical.
Almost got you. Almost up to where you
Nah,
what you
well, I'd need 9 or 10 jobs to get $3 million. I need
you
10
got
jobs.
7. You need 3 more.
877-99 on Fox.
Got my guy Sean in Sacktown. What up? You on the Odd Couple with Rob and Ephraim. What you got?
Yeah, my uncle's from another mother. My brother's behind the boy. Assalamualaikum, brother.
Walaikum assalam, man. My guy.
What's up,
Hey,
Sean?
Man, I got to break up this little Kumbaya song and dance y'all doing for this man. Look, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just a sucker. He doesn't have any ghosts in his past. My man got publicly shamed. That is nothing to say that his past is going to affect him in the future. But my question is why did they hire him? Only thing I've ever heard this guy do is cry on TV, make bad plays in the NFL, get himself ousted out of the NFL earlier than his college career would have made you project. And now we're going to put him on national TV to break down the game. I'd rather have Ephraim Salaam, a guy with media chops, a guy who's been working his butt off for the past almost 2 decades now, trying to make his name in this media game on NFL Network. He brings me nothing. I think that is just a power play by the NFL Network to get a guy with a troubled history. I'm not going to say a troubled past, but a troubled history to keep eyes on the NFL Network. I think it's nothing more than just exploiting my guy.
Wow. Be speaking facts,
Sean,
man.
Wow.
He be speaking facts. My guy.
What